A native integration is one where you have it could also be called I think a first party integration. You have two tools that work together, that the integration itself is built in-house by those platforms. Meaning, let's say you have a fundraising platform and a CRM, and those two are different companies, they're different products. Having a native integration between those two tools allows for data to flow seamlessly without the need for a third-party tool to bridge them together. They can talk to each other directly, and typically there's no code needed to enable the integration. You can log into one tool or the other, and the two can talk to each other. There's often configurable settings and things to make that possible, but there's no work or additional code required from the organization to integrate, aside from maybe adding an API key or something like that, which will sometimes platforms will charge a first party integration fee. If you're on like the Salesforce app exchange, there may be a fee just to purchase that app or that integration. And if you're not, then there may be a charge just for use of the integration. And that should be a little bit more clear and explicit. The other option would be what I said was sort of having a third tool. There is like a third party integration. Frequently there's Zapier is referenced here, which is probably the most common third party automation tool, where you take two different services who both integrate with Zapier or a third party tool to then make that bridge happen. So you work with Zapier to make a CRM talk to the fundraising platform and vice versa. With Zapier and third party integrations, there's typically a cost to use Zapier itself. So it may be advertised as free. You integrate with Zapier for free, but you're going to have a price point based on the usage of that tool. It has a free tier to start, but once you get over like 100 data transfers a month or something like that, you're going to start having to pay for Zapier. Some tools will also charge for the use of Zapier, so you're actually paying two charges, or even three if both to integrate on both sides, and then Zapier itself.
When we hear that an API is available for a system, we know it allows some degree of customizable interaction with that system for another system. So it tells us how to talk to it. We can build programming to create that interaction and hopefully make the data all sync.
The last one would be an API integration, which allows the developers at an organization to integrate directly with the platform however they choose. So the API enables developers to make custom integrations to whatever specifications are available via the API. So you can build your own custom integration between a fundraising platform and a CRM instead of relying on a third-party tool or the native integration that was already built.
Everything I call more just like client side, where it's code snippets that you're putting on a website, API key that you plug in to allow systems to communicate. Direct API integration is typically more involved and handled by developers. There's a lot of different types of APIs out there, but they generally all kind of function the same way.
Some companies will charge an API access fee. So they may offer an API, but it's actually not public, free, or accessible at all unless you're paying for it.
We talked about APIs and how data is exchanged between multiple systems, but if one side or whoever is exposing the API may need to make changes to either the way the data is structured or the functionality, you have to make sure that you're not breaking people that have already integrated. So it's a good, like I said, best practice to version the API so that people aren't required to or are forced to update to your latest API version, and then have a plan for how long that's supported so that there's stability for partners. What kind of breakage could be introduced? Are we going to have to invest a lot of time in maintaining it or keeping up with the different versions? Do they properly version their API, for example, and just try to really understand the long-term cost associated with an integration.